all of traditional industrial models moved like a pipe. And this was the fundamental way in which traditional business models differed from the new business model that was emerging. It's not so much the use of technology, it's not so much the creation of ecosystems. What is fundamentally different about the new model of business is that the way business flows has completely changed. And because the flow of business has changed, the sources of power change, the way you make money changes, and the way you compete as a business completely changes. So the fundamental change that is happening in business today is a change in the very flow of business. In a world of pipes, we saw business move from a producer to a consumer in a straight line. What we're seeing today increasingly in a world of platforms is a whole range of flows between different participants, and the business no longer controls the flow. It just enables the flow to happen between these different participants. And the factors that it creates to enable this exchange, to enable this multi-directional flow, is what makes this business so unique. There are a lot of ways to use today's exponential technologies and yet not be a platform if you do not have these networked multi-dimensional flows. So think of different ways in which you would think of companies. The traditional way in which the telecom industry worked was a pipe model. Even today, the telecom industry is called a dumb pipe. And the telecom industry, as well as the handset manufacturing industry, worked in a model where the producer created value and they pushed it out onto the market. Whereas if you look at the way Android works, Android owns neither the handsets nor the apps that are created on top of the handsets. First, it creates a flow between handset manufacturers and consumers, and then it creates another flow between app developers and consumers. And it internalizes all these flows onto one single platform. And that's why this is so transformative, because Android, the way it scales, the way it competes, is very different from the way a traditional handset manufacturer would have competed. We're seeing something similar happening with the taxi industry versus Uber. We're something similar happening with Airbnb versus the hotel industry, where one model used to work in the form of pipes. It would create inventory, lease it out, and make money on that inventory. The other model creates a network of participants which interact with each other constantly, and the platform enables that exchange. And we've seen that in the past with social media. We've seen that in the past with the likes of YouTube, the Amazon Kindle publishing platform. We've repeatedly seen a traditional linear model of business being replaced by or augmented by a more networked flow of business. And this is the fundamental shift that I believe is increasingly important in today's world. The idea that you can look at your business, model it as a series of linear flows, and ask yourself, what are the points in this business where I can change the linear flow to a networked flow? That is the opportunity of the platform that is there in almost every industry. And the reason this opportunity is so prescient at this point in time is because if you want to create networked flows in business, you need to have a way to identify the source and the destination of the flow, because you do not own these two things. In a pipe, you own the source and you sort of own the destination, because you would have a connect with the retailer. In a platform, you need to know the source and the destination from which business is flowing, and that is where digital technologies play a role. Because thanks to digital, today everything can be digitized. Thanks to the mobile phone, a taxi can be digitized. 10 years back, a taxi could not be digitized, and so you could not have Uber 10 to 15 years back. Thanks to digital flows today, any object, anything at all can be digitized, and that's what we call the Internet of Things. And so we can have platform business models in manufacturing, in oil and gas, in mining, thanks to this Internet of Things. So the reason digital technologies are so important is because they can digitize the source of production and the source of consumption, thereby tracking the flow end-to-end and internalizing that flow on the platform. And that's what's so remarkably powerful about the platform.